Agenda now, committee reports. Start with Jim, Mr. Admin Chair.
Thank you, Mac. We had Robert Ray in to see us this morning. He gave a nice report. It's good to see him. He talked about the projects that are coming up. Talked about the roof at the jail, the roof at the South County building, the generator and the backup generator, all that. Brought us up to speed on that. He also said that the contract with Daniel B should be helpful to him, so he gets some of these things prioritized, get them done. He talked to us about staffing. Obviously, he's down like everyone else. He's got 2 retirements that he made note of. Dave Puckett, who is a electrician over at the jail, will be retiring, and Chris Johnson at the juvenile center will be retiring. So he's got some more positions to fill. Then after that, we had Dan Fetty in to see us, and I am going to go to resolution that Dan talked to us about that you are going to see. Dan talked to us about resolution ending in 3163. This resolution has to do with the Lakeview Trail. Dan has presented, I think, as a committee of the whole, so everyone should be familiar with that project. This is a resolution to apply for Michigan DNR Trust Fund. We already have applied for a TAP grant for 1.6 million. Whirlpool is putting up 400,000. This would be for the remaining 300,000. And this is for 2.5 miles of non-motorized trail along the M63 right-of-way between Higman Park Road and Monty Road for the Lakeview Trail. So he talked to us about that. We had any questions we asked, they were answered. So you will have this resolution the next time we get together. Any questions on that? Okay. Brian was in to see us and talked to us about the West Michigan, the WeMed contract that we do for autopsies, that type of thing. So next time we get together, you'll see a resolution 3159. This is to extend the contract with WeMed for this year and then for 2024, 2025, and 2026. Then lastly, we have a resolution that came to us from the court. It ends in 3168, and this is to apply for grant funding for technical equipment for the legal self-help portion in the courthouse. And that is our report. Any questions on any of that? Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Madam Chair of Finance.
Thank you. We met today, and the first people we met with was Barbie Hogue, accountant, and Greg Trail from the road department. And what they wanted to do was talk to us. We had accepted bids a couple weeks ago for aggregate, and they did not want to go with the company that was the lowest bid. They have done business with them for a few years, and this company is late and slow, and they end up having to use our staff to move aggregate when it's normally delivered to each garage. And last year, they found themselves into August accepting things, and it throws them behind. And right now, already they were getting behind. And so they wanted to go with another company, and we agreed to that. The other company they're going with, they're familiar with the work that they do. And so already this company is caught up, and it's working. Another thing, I don't know if they wrote this to everyone, but this is where, we entered into a contract to buy gasoline from a company, and they want to give us a report of, just to say, Berrien County Road Department has been in a contract with Co-Alliance for fuel purchases since November 10th, 2022. This contract expires on May 10th, 2023. The current contract is set to expire on May 10th. As of March 10th, 2023, Barron County Road Department has purchased 9,341 gallons of unleaded fuel and 61,889 gallons of diesel fuel. This contract has streamlined the fuel ordering process and helped to ensure that fuel is delivered to our various locations in a timely fashion. Marion County Road Department is requesting to continue the bidding contract process for the period of May 11th, 2023 through November 11th, 2023. The estimated usage for this period is 50,000 gallons of diesel and 15,500 of unleaded fuel. And that has worked so well, the price stays at whatever, like on the 11th, whatever that price is, that's what the price will be. And it's just worked well, and the company is doing well coming, and so they want to continue that, and we agreed. Then our next meeting was with Drain Commissioner Christopher Quatrain and John Brennan, attorney from Fahey, Schultz, Burzik, and Rhodes. And what we were working on was a drain procurement policy draft. And this is something that's been asked for by the auditor. By the auditor, and something that has been asked for by the finance committee, so that we can understand what's going on and they can have some kind of system. And it was brought to our attention that we're the only one that's asking for this in the state of Michigan, but we like to be out front, and this is what we needed, and we have it. It was very good conversation, a very good meeting, and with Christopher was the lady, I wrote her name down, Kathy Kassane. Thank you so much, Kathy Kassane. And they've gotten the books together, and it's just working very well for all of us. And so I'm glad that that's happening. I'm trying to see if there's anything else I want to tell about. No. It was a good meeting with them, and we're satisfied with the results. Then,
Commissioner Yarborough,
yes,
can we address the authorizing resolution?
yes, thank you. There will be authorizing resolution that will come to us next week. You want to explain it?
Sure. So the Drain Commissioner has been working with staff and with a couple of our commissioners over the past several months to address the procurement policy. He has presented his procurement policy. We'll be bringing forward an authorizing resolution noting receipt of the procurement policy. The benefit to that is it allows us to notify our audit team that this concern has been addressed. The board will not be asked to adopt the procurement policy. You're not being asked to comment on the procurement policy. You're solely being asked to acknowledge receipt of the policy. And just as an example of when you've taken similar action, if you think back to the employment, the wage study, the board at that time adopted a resolution just acknowledging receipt of the study. So I'll be working with Annette to get a draft resolution in front of you all. And that could be in the next week, depending on if the schedule allows it, but we will have it to you very soon.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'd like to go back to the road department. We have had tremendous help with the road department to Van Buren County, because they had a loss of an employee while working, and they offered to remove snow or do anything that they could. And through Greg Trail and our employees, they've been, very helpful and encouraging to Van Buren County. Then the next thing we did was Community Development Director Dan Fetty let us know that he has a request for Varian bus service through the Avenue Family Network. And they'd like to try that for a number of months. And they're going to transport people. At the Avenue Family Network, they do daycare and work with Alzheimer's and different things, but they'd like to give them some activities. And so as a trial, the Marion Bus will do this for $40 per hour as a pilot program. And if they decide in a few months they want to continue, the rate will go up to $45 an hour. And they need that to be able to, justify doing transportation. And so that could be where we would have another contract, and that would help stabilize Berrien Bus. Was there anything else? I'm trying to look here. Let me just give me a second just to look at it, because I got all kinds of papers. I don't want to not do it. And so that will come as a resolution to be Avenue Family Network to accept the Berrien Bus contract with them. And then we had bids taken. They were opened yesterday, and we made a motion to accept them. A lot of them were for the road department, and then there was one for the, it's the ports. Just a second. Cubicle, for a friend of the court, cubicle office sets, and we sent them out to 3 companies and 2 responded. Oh, no, 3 responded. Sent it out to 3 and 3 responded. And the lowest bid was Doubleday Office Products of Benton Harbor, Michigan for $34,367.51. And so all of those were accepted by the Finance Committee. We accepted the minutes, and that was our meeting. Thank you. Anything else?
You didn't get much done, apparently, so.
Seeking.
Right. Mr. Chair of PHS.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We also met this morning. We had Jill Adams come in and talk through our periodic update on the Parks Department. She is going through a closing today on the Hellman property. If you remember, this is the one we authorized the purchase. This is adjacent to Madeline Bertrand Park. So we're very excited to have that finally concluded. She also talked about a grant application that will come to you next meeting. This is for the replacement of the shelter structure down at Madeline Bertrand. We're applying to the Passport grant operated by the state of Michigan. We had another resolution you'll see. This is from the Health Department regarding the Double Up grant program at the Farmers Market in Benton Harbor. We had Annette Christie come in and go over in great detail the travel expense policy. We're making some adjustments in that. It's been well over 10 years since it was last reviewed. So I added in clarifying language, and so that will come to you with a cover sheet explaining some of the changes that are being proposed. We also considered the meal allowance program, bringing us into a regular process with that. We had an advanced step hire for the Health Department. This is a nutritionist, so well experienced, and we approved that. Then also reviewed and considered military credit purchase by an employee. This allows them to buy into the defined benefit retirement plan. They are already vested, so they're adding more military service time in, and they make a financial contribution to do that. So that's governed by the state of Michigan and some laws. And so we're making sure we're in compliance with that. And so we had a good meeting, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Questions for PHS? All right, let's head into commissioner reports.
I attended training at the EOC along with Commissioners Volrath and Curran. And then I had 3 other activities, a violence prevention grant opportunity through the federal government, a CEO workshop operated by the chamber, and then also attended the Lincoln Township board meeting where the primary issue was an ordinance allowing chickens in their residence. So that was, actually, that was a great opportunity to see the public asking for consideration of an ordinance. And so well attended. Once the chickens were out of the way, then everybody left. And so that was,
Let's see. After our meeting on last Thursday, I did attend Bertrand Township's board meeting. I picked up all of Bertrand Township in the redistricting, so that was really the first opportunity I've had to get out there and talk to those folks. So I could meet them, they could meet me, and it was kind of funny that they had a gal from MEC there who brought the maps and was talking to them about the broadband effort. So it worked out perfect because she and I kind of tag team on the efforts that were being made. And I don't know if you noticed this morning, there was a letter of support for Bertrand Township. So those folks are really looking forward to getting broadband, because they're one of those rural communities where, you know, a lot of their residents are 1,500 feet off the road. And it's not been financially possible for them to get any kind of hardwired fiber. So they're looking forward to it. Friday, I attended the legislative review that was held at the Health Department. I attended via Zoom, did not go in person. That was a good meeting, I thought. Tuesday, I attended the EOC training along with Bob and Dave. Yesterday, I attended the Brandywine basketball at regionals, and they won. It's the first time that Brandywine has won regionals in basketball for about 30 years now. So there's a lot of excitement. Now they're moving on to the semi-state, which will be up at Portage Northern. And so we're gonna wish them well. But watching those kids play, they're so cohesive. They are so talented and have played together for so long. It's really a joy to watch them. They played Centerville. Centerville in the first period scored 2 points. In the whole first half, they scored 9 points. That was it. Brandywine just had a suffocating defense. And like I say, these young men are very talented. So they ended up with, I don't know, 58-35, something like that. So that's my report.
I love defense. Even if they don't score 100 points. I attended the EOC training. We had in-depth training given to us by Rocky, a captain. We have a lot of new members that joined us there this time because of the circumstances with COVID and everything. We haven't really been together a lot in the last few years, but give everybody a chance to learn things that we need for the training that we have coming up with the drills for the cook plant. So that's my report.
Nothing to report really, but I spoke with Don Ryman. He wanted to make sure to express his gratitude to all the commissioners who showed up for his 95th birthday. He said, make sure you tell him, Alex. So I'm just passing that along from him. He really appreciated it. So
Well, went to the Brownfield meeting last week, nothing earth shattering. Budget is fine. We talked about Harbor Shores, the Whirlpool Tech Center, Index Speedway coming along. The projects are good. And that's pretty much Brownfield. Also last night with Commissioner Bell, went to Riverwood. And the Suicide Prevention Coalition gave their annual report. And this one is just a highlight of everything. Suicides in 2019 were 21. For 2020, they were 21. For 2021, they were 10. And then back up to 2022, they were 20. If anybody wants to look at this, I'll just pass it around. Also, that we had 2 people come from the self-directed services, which used to be called self-administrated services. And these are a program I really didn't know was going on, but when you have somebody that say they're in a wheelchair and they cannot do anything except talk and think they get money from the state and federal government and they're the employer and they hire their own service people. And these service people get them through, say, college. And this girl had an engineering degree. She now works for Whirlpool, but the people she hires takes them, lives with them, takes them to work, does everything their hands need to do, and she just tells them what to do. And in most cases, it works out. Some cases it doesn't. But these two people, one had his work was podcasts, and it was just very interesting. Very smart people, very impressive, getting along in life, and just like very excited about life and this program. And it was just exciting to listen to him and talk to him. And if anybody has any questions about that, they can see me afterwards. But that was pretty much the basic. That's all.
So I too attended the Brownfield Authority meeting. On Tuesday, there was a planning commission meeting for the county. It was a number of text amendments presented from different townships as it related to marijuana establishments. Benton Charter Township is one, and then Three Oaks Township is the other. Interesting enough, Benton Charter, we were reading through the amendments and you could tell the different approaches that they had as it related to very specific from Benton Township's perspective of where those establishments can be placed within the township, how they will be regulated. And Three Oaks took more of an approach of land use and their language was about adult use marijuana facilities and not distinguishing between recreation and medical. So we spent a large amount of our time discussing that. We also had zoning changes in New Buffalo Township as it related to the Harbor Country Drive District. For those who may be wondering where that is at, it's mostly along 94 as you get off at the New Buffalo interchange, not exit 4, but the one just south of that. There was a district for mixed use application as it related to commercial, residential, and what they were trying to do there to establish an additional district for businesses. They've reverted back to the original zoning, and we concurred with that recommendation. We also received notice from Keeler Township from Van Buren County on their master plan and their plans to review that. And while that's Van Buren County, the way that planning commissions work is if we're abutting counties and our townships are connected in contiguous parcels, then we receive notification to make sure that our planning in some way coordinates what their planning is so that there's not a disjointed approach for land use planning. All right, that's enough on planning commission stuff. The only other thing that I'd like to say is I know we heard in the 8:30 meeting about the Robin Grant efforts and that there have been 2 applications submitted with Berrien County included in it, but there are 154 applications that were submitted to the Robin Grant, totaling about $1.3 billion in asks from the state. The total projects would be 2.3 billion. And there's 238 million available with the Robin Grant. And so I just want to say thank you to this board. Thank you to the townships, to the anchor institutions, the community for writing those letters of support so that we could present those to the ISPs to include in their applications. We're hearing that community support is really important for these applications. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. I attended Don Ryman's birthday party on Sunday, the 95th year. And when I came in, the lady said, "Are you here for the party?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "Just go around the corner." I rode around the corner and I was in a Republican meeting. when I stepped in the door, Don Ryman said, Mamie. I said, hi. And I went and sat down and they still had quite a ways to go. And they want things like we want things. We want people to vote. We want them to vote right. So I had a nice time. I saw a lot of people I knew and met new people. And it was really nice. I was so pleased that Don recognized me, not recognized me, but he knew who I was, that everything is working.
Yep.
And so it was just a real nice time. And then I want to tell you all that today at 3:30, the parks meet. Is that correct? Yeah, right in this room.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Goes back to Michael after you're done.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
In Marion County.
I have a battery that's going.
Going bad.
Here, pass this.
Here.
Or-
Use this one.
Oh, I was blinking.
Yeah, I don't know what that, well, now it stopped.
It
Here,
disconnects from the
oh, did it?
system, like it signal, and
I was
that's why
gonna
it's-
whack
We need BC bit.
with that hammer there and see if that would help. I was there too for Don's gathering, and Deb Panazzo came,
Yeah.
and Ezra,
That's right.
who we haven't seen in a few months. So it was good to see Don. Brian's already said he doesn't have anything to report, so we'll go to general public comments. And,
Just one quick clarification.
okay,
The Parks meeting was yesterday.
Oh, they do meet on Wednesday.
They do.
Thank
Yep,
you.
sorry.
Thank you.
and by
Don't come back
I will
for,
come back.
yeah.
all indications, it was a really good meeting, though, so,
And that's because she's going to get something today.
They
right,
said Don Ryman came to look for you.
yeah.
Right.
You still don't have anything?
No, sir.
Okay, general public comments. Anyone have anything they'd like to share in 2 minutes or less? Name and town, name and town.
Counselor Hager Township. The population of Berrien County is about 156 million. That's 2010, I think. I looked it up in the book. And your budget, what you guys spend is 161 million. Well, I'm sorry, it's 156,000. It's only all three digits up here, yeah. Okay, 156,000 and the budget is 161 million. That means you guys spend about $1,000 for every person in the county. Now think about that. What do you think about spending other people's money? That's what you're doing, isn't it? You kind of get into the habit. Now, when you're beginning, you try to do good, and pretty soon, you want to get reelected. And what do? If you're in there long enough, you're going to put some of that money in here, aren't you? No. Well, you're not doing it yet, but with some of you keep climbing. What about those guys in Washington, D.C.? You guys make your own rules. So when you get elected, you are a monopoly. Like that word, monopoly? That's what you are. Somebody gets elected, and you get together, you make your own rules, pay whatever, hours. Well, why are we meeting during the day? Now, if you ask the people out there, the majority would probably say, let's meet in the evening so they can attend the meetings. No, that's the inconvenience for you guys, isn't it? You'd rather have, look at that, there's nobody here. Except for me, I'm Big Mouth. There's three of us, right? There's a newspaper lady. You guys outnumbered. That's not a very good example of a democracy.
2 minutes, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
Rick Beyond Niles Township. I sat in finance today. And Christopher Quatrain gave you guys a policy, and I think that's awesome. I think that every policy and procedure you guys can clean up and modernize is a benefit to everybody. So I just congratulations on whoever thought of that idea, because obviously there was a need for it. As far as night meetings go, I agree. I went to Cass County to that thing where they were talking about the gun resolution. There was probably 100 people there. I mean, they were all, whether they were for or against, at least they were there and be able to show their support for whatever side they were on. And we need to do that in Berrien, because he's right. There's only 3 people here. There's 150,000 people. We don't represent 150,000 people. So giving the public an opportunity to address this board is essential. You guys are responsible for spending the money. And if we don't know what's going on, if we're not putting our 2 cents in it, then, it's our responsibility to show up too. But if you give us the opportunity, I think people will. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. April.
I'm Melissa Clapper, St. Joseph Charter Township. I'll just throw my 3 cents back in on the night meetings. One of the things I said a couple months ago was that as much as I like to travel around the county, which, it's always interesting to see people that show up for those meetings. Another alternative, as I mentioned, would be to have a night meeting here once a month, so of the 4. So anyway, still going for the night meetings. Again, it's not the amount of people that show up, it's the ability to invite the people to show up. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay, we'll go to other business. Yes, sir.
The hookups for the internet, is there a universal fee for that? Okay, so obviously there's somebody's talked about this, because there's the people in the townships are of the notion that it's a flat fee.
So what we're seeing right now is that there are different constructions occurring. And so there is federally backed construction occurring in some townships that would then have a set fee as determined by the federal funding. We have privately funded constructions occurring. An example of this is Bainbridge is seeing some private investment occurring by Comcast. And in that situation, Comcast is waiving fees. To say that there is a one set hookup fee, there's not. If we get Robin funding for this area, we would then have to put together a sub-grant agreement with the internet service provider. And at that time, we would likely have the ability to negotiate what the connection fee would be for that project. But I would say that unfortunately, it's on a case-by-case basis, depending on what, if any, public subsidy is attached to the project. We've heard complaints that some people are seeing a connection fee of $100, and then across the street, it can be as high as $500. And there really is a bit of a sliding scale. And it's because of that difficult for the average citizen to understand who's paying for the internet service provider to be building broadband out on the road right of way. It's really not clear. And it ties back to who's backing that construction project. I'm not sure if I answered your question.
Yeah, I think you have, but I'm not sure I can answer their concerns, because they are, I don't want to say convinced, but been told that there's a flat fee. And so, it's not working out that way. And so I'm not sure that I can appease their concerns at this point in time, because for whatever reason, they're under a different impression than the one that you've just given.
Yeah, it's something that we've heard rumblings about, and we've expressed to the ISPs that it's a bad look. That as the ISPs are going out and trying to line up millions in public aid to help support their business expansion, when there's not just one set fee, and it could be as little as nothing, it could be as much as 500. It's really tough to explain that to the average citizen.
Thank you.
Anything else under other business?
I do have one last thing, sir. So yesterday, I was out of the office celebrating being 46. And the greatest gift that came from members of staff, from members of the electeds here, is I just got loaded with dad jokes. So if you'll bear with me, I'll just throw out 2 of them. So first is, did you hear about the tree's birthday? No, it was really sappy. So as it relates to Lincoln Township and their chicken ordinance, what did the evil chicken lay?
Deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs, yeah. And then for Robert Ray, who is just constantly vexed by elevators, this one's out for him. Why are elevator jokes so good? They work on many levels. So there you go. Thanks for putting up with that.
Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome, Dave. You're welcome.
Announcements, remember not to come in 2 weeks because we won't be here. And if there's nothing else,
Hope I don't come.
yeah, that's right. If there's nothing else, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.